Hello, everyone. I just want to say happy holidays to all of you that have been here and have been listening to the show over the years, or even over the past few years or past few months. I just appreciate you being here, and I do also want to express many gratitudes and thankfulness for this year, even though it was a very difficult year, but we kind of went through it together, and we also work together in making the changes. So I want to, respect that it is Christmas, a Christian holiday, but also for many other people, this is, a time of year for them, and they celebrate. Their celebration is equally important, whether it's Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or anything else that suits their belief system. And so, we are open to all different types of belief system, but we do not promote any type of strong religious belief. We are not in a place of looking for a savior, but looking to enhance ourselves in a way of awakening, helping ourselves to go within, to learn, to grow, and to have our own experience in connecting to the divine God source. And so that's probably the most important part, is your individual journey. Now, I talk about a lot of the things that I do, but it couldn't have happened unless I had done my own personal work. And so I wanted to share with you this movie that I saw, and it's been around for quite a few years. It's called Little Buddha, and it was Keanu Reeves is in the movie, and there's some other people, of course, in the cast that are talented. And the story is a discussion about reincarnation. And so during the story, you start to learn a bit about what's going on, how that this one Tibetan monk had, well, it's a Tibetan Lama who had passed and then incarnated again. And so the story is really kind of sweet. It's kind of interesting, and how the attributes come through. I have a friend that just contacted me about, it's the holiday season, and how I did a personal session with her regarding her son and how he played the piano. And I haven't talked to her in a while, and she said this is the first time that they purchased a piano, and he was literally playing it like as if he knew how to play it already. And I may be wrong, but I don't believe he had any lessons. I said to her, has he ever played before? So the soul memory comes back in, and they have recall of having these experiences. So I'm going to share this a clip of this movie, because I think this part is really important. It's the most important part about meditation and your own personal journey of enlightenment and awareness and understanding the battle of what's going on in the other dimensions. And so you can kind of get a better image of what I've been talking about. So this is not like you're conjuring anything in. You're literally going into meditation, and then it's almost as if you become aware. Your eyes open, your inner eyes open, and you start to have an awareness of what's going on around you. So I'm going to go in, and we have that clip. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. And here we go. So as I said, this is a clip from Little Buddha. And I'm just going to bring up different points as we go along. So there's 3 candidates that could potentially be this Lama, and throughout the entire time they're getting educated about the traditions and the belief system.
Siddhartha reached enlightenment under this tree? Yeah?
So he's teaching him about Siddhartha, and that this was the tree that history tells them that this is where he reached enlightenment.
Anyhow, a tree just like this one. Mama! Mama, is it true? Is this really like Siddhartha's tree?
Well, probably something very similar. It was outside a little village called Bodhgaya. Siddhartha
So I was wrong. It's not the literal tree, but something like it.
sat under a great tree, just like this one. He had found the middle way and restored his body to health. And then 5 girls appeared. They looked like innocent village girls, but in fact, they were the 5 daughters of Mara, Lord of Darkness. They were the spirits of pride, greed, fear, ignorance, and desire.
Okay, so immediately you hear these are the 5 daughters of darkness, and they represent pride, greed, fear, ignorance, and desire.
Mara had sent them to tempt Siddhartha away from his search.
So you might say, well, why would this be important? You're just going there to meditate. And why are you getting drawn away into some of these temptations? Because they're distractions. They keep you in a lower dimensional plane, and you are missing the reason or the connection of being able to scale into that higher dimensional space. Like everyone, many people talk about going into this 5th dimensional space, and if you don't go through a process like this, it's not going to happen. Meditation is very critical to get you through into this space and understanding what's happening around you and what is near you and what are the issues that you need to work on. So during the process of meditation, there are many different things that cross your mind. And I guess that some people call it the monkey mind, where you're trying to focus on something, but you can't, you get very distracted. And sometimes, thoughts, fantasies, and all different things, which you think may be artificial or something that you're just bringing in. But maybe you should consider that these are the things that are trying to lure you away and get your heart and mind off the focus of scaling into that higher place. So he remains focused. But they have to do something more. That can come in many different forms.
Mara had tried to tempt Siddhartha in the cleverest of ways, by disguising the temptations of life in the simplest forms.
Remember, Mara
Siddhartha
is the demon of darkness.
was looking beyond form, beyond the present. And now Mara was enraged.
So the rejection of that temptation and staying focused, that's the first battle. And he defeats the energy. So the energy can't exist in its space. The battle continues in the form of a storm to intimidate him. And it reveals as an army. I just want to say that these armies do exist in the dimensional space, in the battles that exist, that play out. And as a dimensional seer, I can sometimes see when the battles are headed in our way, in our direction. And very likely, these are not humans, but are the very energies that could be stepping into a present military that is creating or having a desire to come into battle, just as we're seeing today, where there are a few different nations that would like to go into battle. These are the entities that would attach themselves to the bodies and give them power to do so, to create great destruction, to create an environment where war won't make any sense, where they won't reason through that they're harming humans. They won't reason through that they're harming the earth. Entities like this don't have compassion, don't have human attributes, and will do horrible things like we've seen in many of the wars that are incredible, incredibly shocking. So we don't want to allow these energies to come through. But they can't come through if consciousness exists. kind of like the Wicker Men that the Satanists talk about. They even go so far as to shoot at him, which he would feel that. He could get sick. Things can happen when you connect to these energies. Instead, he didn't engage in that way.
It seemed as if Mara had been defeated, but in fact, he had not yet given up the battle.
He had not yet given up the battle. They don't just give you 1 or 2 tries. They do it multiple times. And can do this multiple times throughout your life. So part of that is being aware.
Now he attacked again.
So it's like a mirror, seeing himself, doppelganger, the id, the ego.
You who go where no one else will dare. Will you be my god, architect? Finally, I have met you.
Calls him architect. Because we are creators. We're creating things. I know there are some people that say that we should all say that we're gods. I always feel like if you're going to say you're a god, then be prepared to be challenged on that. And you may take on quite a bit of responsibility. Whatever you put out there is what you receive. So consider that. But in this case, he's talking about the architecture of his own inner self.
You will not rebuild your house again, but I am your house, and you live in me. O Lord of my own ego, you are pure illusion. You do not exist. The earth is my witness.
So he grounds himself, he puts his hand on the earth as a witness against the temptation to bow down to this ego, or to think about the importance of self, the need for unnatural attention at an expense of harming others. You know, all the different things that the ego does that gets us in a lot of trouble. So here we go. And then the entity comes through once again, because truth has to come through. You're honest with yourself. So displaying a form of enlightenment, ascending. And that's it. So we'll go So you can watch the movie. It's a very interesting movie. And I'm just going to go back to Mara. And then there was another one. Interesting because there's a Mara, a Hindu goddess, but her name means death in Sanskrit. In Latvia, she's not considered death, but the one that we're interested in here is relating to this story is the Mara, the demonic celestial king, who tempted Prince Siddhartha by trying to seduce him with the vision of a beautiful woman who, in various legends, are often said to be Mara's daughters. Here are the traditional metaphorical forms of Mara. Mara is the embodiment of unskillful emotions such as greed, hate, and delusion. And we do choose to be deluded when we don't obey the message of, stay away from things that we know are a lie. And we choose not to see that they're a lie because we want to either belong or try to get something that maybe we don't need. But okay, so Mara, it also means death. Mara is a metaphor for the entirety of the conditional existence, and also the deva of the sensual or sensuous realm, and who tried to prevent the Gautama Buddha from attaining liberation from the cycle of rebirth. So trying to bypass rebirth and go into enlightenment. Mara is described both as an entity having an existence in the Kama world, just as we are shown existing around the Buddha, and also described as primarily the guardian of passion and the catalyst for lust, hesitation, and fear. We talk about fear and everything in our world right now, and the people that are most in fear are those have very little connection to their higher self, to their inner knowing, to their connection to the God source, because they fear of where they're going to go if something happens, and to step back from that and not to be in fear, but to walk without fear, fearless, into our world, into our experience, into our own experience, knowing that we will be okay because we exist and we know we exist and we are here to exist. And so, without fear and obstruction, meditation, this is the meditation amongst Buddhists. This refers to him as the one who delights in destruction. That's the explanation of Mara, who highlights his nature and the deity among and forgive me, I don't think I can say that word, but among those devas. Buddha defying Mara is a common pose of the Buddhist scriptures. The Buddha is shown with his left hand on his lap. The hand is facing upwards, and his right hand is on his right knee, and the fingers of his right hand touch the earth, just like we saw in the video. And the purpose for that is to call the earth as his witness for defying Mara and achieving enlightenment. And that's what he set out to do, is to try to figure out another way that he can experience enlightenment and bypass the pain and the suffering. The posture is also referred to as the earth witness mudra. So, it's, why am I going into Buddhism? I don't think I'm just going into Buddhism. I'm going into an experience that's a reference point. And as I said, I don't have a strong affinity towards any exact belief system. I do believe very strongly in meditation. I believe that this is going to be our path and our way to get through some of the very big temptations that we have on this planet right now. The temptations of fear, the temptations to just submit to whatever is going on, to change and try to fit in another way, or to think about how much money we can get, or, even to avoid the whole thing of, trying to be famous for the cause of needing attention as opposed to wanting to bring out information for the sake of helping others. And so that the intentions is something that only you and the universe knows. But there's nothing new under the sun, which is a biblical statement. But that means literally you can't hide it. You can't. Everything that's in the heart gets revealed over time. So you cannot fool yourself. You can try to fool yourself, but you'll end up in a very bad place. And if you're honest with yourself and you're honest with others, then your path will become much easier. I always say the path of least resistance is the best path. Not that you're looking for the easy way out, but you can do so much more. A lot of people stay in a state of suffering, and they think that this is a way of spirituality. And the way of spirituality is ascension so that you can be used to help others. If you are problematic and are constantly, in need and in sorrow. So abundance is something that's welcoming for everyone. It's available for everyone. If we don't take that, then, or we don't fully understand that, it's not like someone's privileged over another. Everything that we have in our physical world is guided by energy, by life force, not just manifesting. People say, well, I just manifested this, I manifested that. Yeah, you can do some of that, and then there are others that they can't manifest as easily. And a lot of this has to do with being in the right place. Where is your heart? Where is your heart space? What do you want out of it? Are you doing it to gain something only? Or do you have a purpose? Are you following your life purpose here? Are you here to contribute? There is not one that is going to be all-knowing, all-saving. We are here not just to look at one individual or two individuals or a group of individuals, but for us to grow. And if we don't grow, none of these other things are going to matter. If one person excels and learns how to ascend, and the rest of everyone else is still struggling, it doesn't really amount to a whole lot of what they contributed. They always say that you're supposed to not just give a person food, but teach them how to plant and grow. And so here are the tools. Here is a new way of looking at the world. Here is the change that we want. The change begins within each and every one of you, including myself. Because if I say to do something and I don't do it myself, then other than being hypocritical, I think that the situation doesn't have any value or truth if I don't believe in it. So how can I tell someone else to do it? Why would I tell someone else to do it? But many people have asked me, how do I do some of the things that I do? And I do believe, we come in with different abilities, but sometimes I also have to contribute a lot to the work, and that work is inner work. So when you gather together, or not gather together because of restrictions, I want you to manifest. I want you to go into that meditative space, and I want you to be grateful and say, I'm grateful because we are going to get out of this. Because this is like Mara, the demon, who is telling us that we have to live in a certain way. It's like that army that is trying to hover over us, shooting darts at us, and telling us that we're not here to thrive, telling us that we should be in fear of getting sick, telling us that we can't be with loved ones or that we are resigned to be alone for the rest of our lives. All of this is illusion. It's a lie. The only time the lie is successful is if we consent to it and agree. That's why I talk about the revocations. If you don't speak it, you have to speak it out. I don't agree. I don't consent to this. You are making an agreement before the earth, before the universe, that you are proclaiming that this is not what you are consenting to. Instead, keeping our eyes focused on what we want, keeping our eyes focused, and even if we have moments of truth that come out negative, positive, it's part of the experience. We're here to grow. We're not here to become slaves. We're not here, and even though, we talk about all of the different systems that are already in place and all the different systems they want to bring in, is because we got into fear. And as we started to become educated, and then Mara came in and said, no, you're going to be punished for talking about these things. We're going to take away more things from you. And then you felt defeated. It was just one of the many temptations. It's just one of the challenges. Now, Mara is one example. There are many different entities like this. There's many. And they have many different names. And I don't believe there's just one of them. I also, want to bring up, I know a lot of people know that I like Shiva. And I have a connection to Shiva. They talk about Shiva being a destroyer. He is not like Mara. Mara is the destroyer that everyone actually fears, that think is Shiva. And that, like I said, there are other demons that do that type of thing. Shiva is the creator. He's a creator. So in the process of creating, things get destroyed. And they don't, it's not just for the sake of destruction. So I just wanted to bring that point in because I know that there's a lot of confusion, especially in the Western world, regarding some of these teachings. In relationship to this story of Christ, we see that the history reveals that Jesus went to the Far East, went to the East, and was learning many of these different things and was very knowledgeable of the ancient belief systems. And when he returned, then he was prepared to talk about what he needed to bring in to teach people how to make changes. And that is being in a certain state of mind and expression. But as the story goes, he was also tempted, very similar to the way Siddhartha was tempted while he was sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane and trying to prepare for what was ahead of him. And so it's the same type of thing. There's no way around it. Meditation is a critical part. We are here to not just acknowledge a birth, although we do acknowledge that, but we're here to change ourselves, to transform into who we were meant to be from the beginning. And we will continue in these cycles of problems and roller coaster problems of ups and downs and challenges. And we will continue going through that until we start to understand that it is what we need to do within is going to make a difference. And that will reflect on what goes on around us on the outside. So I don't claim to be perfect in any way. I have, here again, let's, be honest and truthful that we have to be in our truth. We have to talk about what is right, what isn't right, and what's right for me might not be right for someone else, and so forth. But either way, I just want to say happy holidays. I hope this helped you in some way. I know that this information helped me tremendously, and it opened up a new path for me. So I hope this year is a new path for you as well, and also for the planet. And I ask for peace, harmony, very good communication, and a shift in our reality. And I hope you will agree with me on that. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.